Newcomers this year to the 250cc scene, Greg Albertijn, world champion in 125cc, and of course, British Kurt Nichol, pairing up on a Honda with Rob Herring. So this is the colourful lineup, 40 riders that are going to race together at 15 events around the world, ending in Suzuka, Japan on August the 22nd.
Hi, my name is Greg Albertijn. I'm 20 years old. I come from South Africa. Last year I was the 125cc world champion, and hopefully in 93 I'm going to be the 250 world champion.
Well, quite a handful moving up to 250cc, but these are the names that everyone's going to be looking out for. 10,000 spectators ready for the start of Heat 1 of Round 1 of the World Championship Steers, and Donny Schmit got a fantastic start. And Rob Herring's very well placed too, but there's been a big crash on that first corner. Nichol's down, and the favourite Alessandro Puzzar is down. The Italian crowd, we're expecting a lot of good things from Puzzar today. Bob Moore's down, Malik Barefoots as well. So Donny Schmit clearly out in front, being chased hard by Rob Herring. Rob Herring does a good side swipe there and shows Donny Schmit just who's in control at this stage. And Stefan Everts goes through into second place now, which leaves the World Championship trailing in third in this first heat. Well, a problem for Rob Herring as Stefan Everts moves into the lead. Schmit is second and Herring is now third. Greg Albertijn has moved into fourth position, and a battling Bob Moore, who had all those problems in the first lap, has ploughed his way up through the field, and he's currently running in 10th position. On to Heat 2, and Greg Albertijn in the lead. Now, it's been a battle like this for this entire heat, really, with Trampers Parker in second place being challenged very hard by Kurt Nichol. Stefan Everts is running in fourth position, and the main battle really is between Parker and Nichol, and then further down the field, Donny Schmit and Bob Moore. Bob Moore running in fifth place, and the champion running in sixth place. But looking awesome out in front, and comfortable too, is Greg Albertijn, doing just enough. Is he going to confound the critics who said the move up to 250cc would not work for the young South African? Well, right now it's working very well, and as you see them coming over that big jump, that is the order. On to Heat 3, Albertijn out in front again, but bad luck for Barefoots as he takes Nichol down. Michele Fantone running second, Donny Schmit third, and Rob Herring in fourth position. There's Fantone, and you can see Donny Schmit pulling away, and Fantone now being challenged very hard by Herring, who takes him on the inside and starts to challenge for second place with Donny Schmit. Bob Moore is stalled on the corner as the front runners go past. It's Albertijn from Schmit, and Rob Herring being challenged very hard by Stefan Everts. So Everts making a really nice overtaking move into third position. But no one has got even close to Greg Albertijn. And as he comes up to take the checkered flag for the second time here in Italy, 2 wins and a fourth are enough to give him the overall in his first 250cc World Championship event. Is this a sign for the future? A sun-baked Jerez de la Frontera in southern Spain did not attract big crowds, but some tremendous competition. Bob Moore was the fastest in practice, but in Heat 1, Greg Albertijn went out in front. An early challenge from Werner de Wit gave way to the onslaught from Donny Schmit, who was determined to make some impression on the 125cc world champion. Malik Barefoots put behind him the disasters of Italy and was running very confident in third place. Werner de Wit falling back all the time as Talon Boland makes a challenge, moving up from sixth position. He moves into fourth place on lap 5. Stefan Everts started poorly. In 9th position, worked his way steadily up through the field and ended up in 4th position. But the win goes to Greg Albertijn, his 3rd win of the season, ahead of Donny Schmit. On to Heat 2, roles reversed. Donny Schmit out in front for 4 laps at the beginning with Greg Albertijn behind him. Trampas Parker running in 3rd. Albertijn goes down, Schmit moves into the lead. Albertijn restarts his bike and rejoins the action in 5th position. Donny Schmit being challenged very hard by Trampas Parker. And Rob Herring running in 3rd position. Lap 8, Trampas Parker moves into the lead ahead of Donny Schmit. Albertijn still running in 4th position, ahead of Moore, ahead of Pouzard, ahead of Barefoots. And there goes Stefan Everts. So, Parker clear out in front. For a while, we see Herring in 2nd and Schmit 3rd, but the final result was Parker from Schmit from Herring. On to Heat 3, a good start for Werner de Wit and Donny Schmit well placed, but look at this, Craig Bradley, Talon Volan all involved in a nasty pile-up. And Volan is totaled here by Craig Bradley. We look at it again in slow motion. Albertijn well out of trouble there. And there is Bradley riding straight over Volan, which takes him out of the series. He's stretchered off with concussion, not as bad as it looks. So a lot of action in this first lap, leaving Werner de Wit out in front, being challenged by Donny Schmit. And that's Manet involved in a pile-up there with Bolly and Moore. So those 3 out of contention. And Donny Schmit moves into the lead on this 3rd heat. A dejected Alex Pouzard watches on. And this is the battle for 3rd place between de Wit and Michele Fanton. Fanton moves through and de Wit falling back all the time now. A storming ride by Stefan Everts, chasing Bob Moore there. Back in 10th place, having ridden all the way up through the field. But the win goes to Donny Schmit, ahead of Greg Albertijn and Trampas Parker 3rd. So after 2 rounds of the World Championship, this man is looking awesome. Leading the championship with 103 points to Donny Schmit's 99. Just a few points behind, Parker, Everts and Herring are going to have a good battle, but any one of these top 10 riders stands a chance of shaking up the lead. Disappointing results for Pouzard, Billy Lyles. Gert-Jan van Doorn has had some promising starts and failed to get good finishes. Valkenswaard in Holland, a very different sort of circuit. The lowlanders will love the sand, beautifully prepared, as 40 riders scorch down towards the first corner with Greg Albertijn way out in front at this stage. But look at Everts. He feels at home here and he's not going to lose sight of Albertijn. Meanwhile, Trampas Parker makes a fool of himself. Donny Schmit had a poor start. His carburetor with moisture in, sticking open, running back in 4th position. So come lap 3, Schmit crashes out. Everts in the lead, ahead of Albertijn, Werner de Wit running in 3rd. Bob Moore in 4th. And this is that battle for 3rd position. And as the weather deteriorates, the racing gets even hotter here. As Moore moves through into 3rd position. And once again, Werner de Wit starts slipping down the field, having trouble with vision in this weather when you're following close on a sand circuit. But he's not giving up the chase. Edwin Evertson running in 7th position. And you can see him chasing the injured Kurt Nichol. And Stefan Everts takes his 2nd win of the season. On to heat 2, a hole shot by Donny Schmit puts him out in front, but a challenging Greg Albertijn soon moves through. A sticking throttle is to affect Donny Schmidt's performance in this heat. Greg Albertijn never looks seriously challenged except by a spectator. Not a very bright thing to do as Albertijn goes into orbit. How many times were we going to see him do that this season? Nichol Barefoots in 3rd position. Edwin Evertson in 4th position. Stefan Everts working his way back up through the field after a start in 10th position. Donny Schmit falling back and back. This is the fight for 4th position. Everts, Evertson, Schmit. And you can see Evertson ripping off his goggles. Visibility problems. But if you're out in front, you've got a clear track ahead of you. And your name's Greg Albertijn. Nothing in the world can touch you. Trampus Parker collided with Gert Jan van Doorn and badly burned his legs. He's out of contention. Here we see the Castrol Honda pairing of Nichol and Herring crawling all over Donny Schmit, falling back all the time with throttle problems. Bob Moore mixed up in that one too. Albertijn confounds the skeptics and takes his 4th win of the season. On to heat 3. A brilliant start by Donny Schmit and Bernard de Witt, who just loves the sand courses. And that is Fred Bolly in 3rd place at this stage. Trampus Parker has got mega problems and is sitting on his bike at the start area. Bob Moore had a lousy start. Now then, Kurt Nichol was very squirrely coming out of the gate, and Edwin Evertson and he are side by side. But this is the leader. Everts out in front. Werner de Witt in 2nd. Rob Herring in 3rd. And Greg Albertijn about to eat up Donny Schmit as he scorches past. And this is Edwin Evertson powering his way up through the field. Problems for Billy Lyles, who can't get his machine started, and problems for Rob Herring, who seems to be slipping back in the action now. Here's Herring being challenged by Nichol Barefoots for 3rd position, with Greg Albertijn comfortably placed in 2nd place and Stefan Everts out in front. All of the action is happening down here. So Stefan Everts takes his moto win ahead of Albertijn, ahead of Nichol Barefoots, ahead of Evertson, who had a brilliant ride up from 13th position at the start. So an overall win for Greg Albertijn, who increases his lead in the World Championships as the riders prepare to go to Payerne in Switzerland. Round 4 from Payerne in Switzerland. Edwin Evertsen out of it with a broken collarbone. Alwin van Asten, broken leg. Toys Visser, shoulder injury. Dieter Lacher, broken bone in his hand. And Fred Bolly with a dodgy shoulder. Comebacks including Talon Voland and Bada Manet. Lyles and Moore top the qualifying, and there's less than 1 second between the top 7 as they move off into Heat 1, and Donny Schmit gets the whole shot. But there's a big pile-up on that first corner, and Schmidt's involved in it, and Peter Johansson, number 9, is holding his wrist there, leaving Greg Albertijn out in front ahead of Trampus Parker and Bob Moore. Marnik Barefoots and Talon Voland, and Albertijn makes a desperate mistake and tucks in behind Talon Voland. And he's right back now in 5th position, and this is the battle for first place as Marnik Barefoots goes through. Brilliant riding, and Greg Albertijn already up into 3rd position. This man seems almost unstoppable. This has not been a happy season so far for Donny Schmit. And here's Rob Herring on the British Castrol Honda, challenging Talon Voland and going through into 7th position. So it's Barefoots from Parker, Albertijn, Everts, Lyles, Nichol, Herring, Voland, Moore and Everts. On to Heat 2, and there we see Moore and Albertijn challenging for the front run. Herring in there with the rest of the pack. So Moore out in front. Is this going to be a repeat of 1992 when Moore led from start to finish? Donny Schmit comfortably in front of Stefan Everts with Trampus Parker in 4th position. After qualifying, Albertijn said he didn't like this track. Too many off cambers for him. He's riding down in 5th position. What a close battle this is for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Kurt Nichol with problems started back down in 16th. He's got power problems, and it's a very grippy track. And Lyles crashes out on lap 10, donating 9th position to Kurt Nichol. And Greg Albertijn moves past Everts into 2nd place. And he starts to mount the challenge to catch the leader, Bob Moore. And the crowd go wild as they see exciting racing for the last lap up to the checkered flag. It's neck and neck stuff. So on to Heat 3 of round 4, a good start for Albertijn, Schmit and Everts and Moore. But a bad crash between Lyles and Nichol. Nichol was knocked out for a while. He's back on his feet. He's got an injured right hand. But breathing rarefied air is Greg Albertijn pulling away from Donny Schmit, who is still racing hard with Stefan Everts. Bob Moore and Trampus Parker are 4th and 5th. Marnik Barefoots is challenging Britain's Rob Herring. Herring and Nichol on new Bridgestone tyres for this meeting and making quite a difference. Werner de Wit gets eaten up by Herring. Marnik Barefoots is chasing hard. Out in front, Greg Albertijn. Donny Schmit still in 2nd place, enjoying the harder surface of the track here in Switzerland. Stefan Everts with a few problems. Bob Moore now in 3rd place. Trampus Parker in 4th place. Rob Herring finishes in 7th. So Greg Albertijn way ahead after round 4, the only rider to score points in every heat, in every round so far. I don't think people are asking questions about his ability on 200. The circuit of Saint-Romain, normally bathing in sunshine, is being lashed by rain and wind. And brave spectators turning out to see the best in the world for round 5 as they head off. Albertijn was 8th fastest in qualifying. And Everts was the only rider to clock less than 2:48 for a round here. So Albertijn from Schmit, from Nichol, from Pouzard, from Everts on a muddy, gusty course. Taking completely different lines around there. And Nichol takes the wide line, Pouzard and Everts chasing Pouzard up the hill. Albertijn out of trouble yet again. Rob Herring has crashed out, visibility problems. It's going to affect anybody who's not 1 or 2 in the field today. Herring also nursing a bruised thigh. Craig Prattley had problems in training. He was wearing a neck brace. Edwin Evertson decided not to travel down here after a crash in midweek practice. And Fred Bolly's shoulder has popped out again as well. But here's a tremendous battle between Britain's Castrol Honda man, Kurt Nichol, and Stefan Everts. There goes another one down. Albertijn outperforming the rest of the field, 1,000,000%, and Everts has gone down. And it's so thick the mud he can't even lift his bike out of it. So in this first heat, Nichol takes 3rd, Pouzard takes 4th, and Everts eventually takes 5th. An excellent ride by Britain's Paul Mallin in 6th position. And yet another win for Greg Albertijn. Mind you, it looks as if the weather's going to be the only winner here. This course is getting almost beyond rideable. They accelerate away. You can see if you're anything other than in front, there's no way you can see a thing. Nichol is down right there, and surely he won't bother to continue. He throws his goggles away in disgust. Pouzard is challenging Everts and having a tremendous ride. It's as if he loves the mud here. Schmit is 3rd. De Wit is 4th. Albertijn is unhappy, and I'm not surprised. Look at the state of this course, and surely they're not going to let this heat continue in these conditions, although I suppose it is always the same for all the other riders as well. Greg Albertijn fell 5 times in the first lap, but lapping it up is Stefan Everts. He aquaplanes through that puddle, takes a wide line, accelerates up the hill, a different line now with Pouzard, being chased by Schmit. Mud, glorious mud everywhere. There's Bob Moore and Malik Barefoot, and look at it. It really is a terrible state. Schmit is challenging and goes through, and that's brave in these conditions. And yes, the red flag is out. That is it. They have cancelled the second moto in the French Grand Prix. Now, calculations tell me that the points will count. Kaposvar in Hungary, very, very different to Beaucaire in the south of France. And the circuit's very different too as they accelerate up the grassy start straight towards the first corner. And it's finish rider Altonen who gets the whole shot, but I don't think he'll hold the lead for long because Donny Schmit is hungry for World Championship points. He's determined to retake second position, which he held earlier in the season, and then start a challenge for Greg Albertijn. But Stefan Everts, of course, is not having any of that. Running in 4th position just behind Trampus Parker. It really is close up the front end. So Schmit moves into 1st place. Beautifully laid out circuit and attendance quite extraordinary here. So this is the way that first heat finished. Trampus Parker in 2nd. Greg Albertijn chasing, putting on a bit of a show for the crowd, ending in 3rd. Bob Moore 4th. Stefan Everts settling for 5th, and Billy Lyles 6th, with Britain's Rob Herring and Kurt Nichol 7th and 8th. And a good ride by Colin Dugmore into 12th position, but a win much needed by Donny Schmit. Still beautiful weather for the second heat, and Donny Schmit out in front. Bob Moore, Greg Albertijn 2nd and 3rd. Paul Mallin got a very good start as well. They've done a lot of work on Donny Schmidt's engine, and my word, it's showing at the moment. Trampus Parker, Stefan Everts, all chasing. Some great downhill sections here. So Albertijn almost airborne coming down there. Chasing Trampus Parker, looking for 3rd position. Barefoot crashes out. Albertijn and Parker getting closer and closer. And a silly mistake by Albertijn. Everts moves up now. So it's Schmit, Moore, Parker, Everts, Albertijn hanging on to 5th place. And Rob Herring, number 6, in 6th place. But Donny Schmit takes the checkered flag for the second time. Now look at this in the third heat. Tallenvolen out in front. Werner de Wit. Everts going wide. Altonen's there. Kurt Nichol got a good start. Bob Moore is down. And there's quite a big bundle up there. But Donny Schmit is out in front. Then Tallenvolen with number 90. And then 80 is Kurt Nichol. They're swapping all their numbers about. Werner de Wit. Rob Herring. And Greg Albertijn is out. After that crash, he's had to retire. And this will be the first time he doesn't score any points. But Donny Schmit looks as if he's going to make it a hat trick and an overall win. And all Stefan Everts can do is look on. This could be crucial as far as the championship point situation is concerned. And a good ride by Kurt Nichol. Just in front of Castrol Honda teammates Rob Herring, the British pairing going well. Bob Moore, not quite so lucky, being attended to by the paramedics. Donny Schmit takes the checkered and moves up into second place in the championship, ahead of Stefan Everts and Trampus Parker. On to Germany, fabulous weather again. Bob Moore's made the whole shot. Trampus Parker gated really badly. Albertijn has been away and taken a bit of a rest. He's back from a 2-week break in South Africa. Bob Moore has recovered from his injuries last time out. And Fred Bolly challenging Albertijn. But Albertijn is so quick through the chicane sections. So halfway through the championship series, a lot to be decided now. A lot of the equipment is starting to come together. There goes Herring, ahead of Everts. Herring has been having suspension problems all day on Saturday on his experimental Cayaba forks. Very bad dust here for the back markers as well. Fred Bolly being taken now by Donny Schmit. And Kurt Nichol having a real ding-dong race with Michaeli Fanton. Fanton won that battle and ended in 7th place. Nichol ended in 8th place. Barefoots was 6th. Billy Lyle's 5th. Fred Bolly was 4th. Schmit was 3rd. Albertijn was 2nd. And Bobby Moore was 1st. Everts had to retire with transmission and ignition problems. And Herring had to retire with jammed forks. Herring is now back in this second heat on his conventional Showa forks. And you can see a real mix-up on this right-hander, leaving Donny Schmit to breathe rarefied air out in front. Roland Dierpold, a local German, number 82, led for a little while, but he's being overhauled by Kurt Nichol, who's having a brilliant race. Greg Albertijn is chasing him too. Kurt Nichol has really got the feel of his equipment now, and you can see he overtakes Dierpold, and then Albertijn goes through as well. So that's 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions in this second heat. Now, how long can Kurt Nichol keep Albertijn off? Now then, problems for Donny Schmit, who's dropping way back now. He's struggling with his gearbox, and he is out of it. Terminal problems as Albertijn goes into the lead. Look at the speed this guy's riding. That holiday in South Africa obviously did the business. Everts, Herring, Parker. That's where the real battle is, down the field. They're looking for podium places, these boys. Everts goes out. So that leaves Herring and Parker and Nichol all battling for the podium positions. The top of it goes to Albertijn. On to heat 3. Schmit is gated really badly, and he falls there, look, blows it completely. The whole field goes past him. Albertijn, Parker, Nichol, Herring, and Schevenels being chased by Tallenvolen. How does Albertijn do it? Awesome power on his Honda, gets him away from the gate. He's got lightning reactions. Now then, Everts and Werner de Wit. Everts goes through. They're side by side as they go over that bump section. Herring riding really well. Look at the two teammates. They may be teammates, but Herring is giving it 110%. Kurt Nichol a little bit quicker away from the corners. His bike set up completely differently to that of Herring's. Donny Schmit having the unenviable task of having to work his way up through the field, and he blows volley straight out of orbit. Extraordinary. Donny Schmit, when he's got the bit between his teeth, doesn't give a hoot about anybody else. He blasted past Fred Bolley. Albertijn, Parker, Nichol, Herring and Everts. So after 7 rounds, Albertijn increasing his lead. Stefan Everts absolutely crucial to get past Donny Schmit if he's going to be able to have a go at Albertijn. The British pairing, Kurt Nichol and Rob Herring, just 1 point apart in 7th and 8th position. Further down the field, Alessandro Puzar is having a desperate season so far. Look at that. And Michele Fonton could do with a little more consistency too. Round 8. Lommel in Belgium, the Sand Riders rubbing their hands together here. Stefan Everts, fastest in practice, put in 15 laps of practice, and it's all to no avail as he comes unstuck in this first corner, as does Petter Johansson, and it's carnage. You can see Kurt Nichol safely through, but they are all over the place. Both the Beef Riders are out. Now then, there's a tremendous battle here between Everts and Schmit. Schmit takes the inside line, the Sand Rider takes the outside line, and we know that Donny Schmit doesn't like sand that much. And Everts just powers through with Britain's Rob Herring chasing up behind there. Now surely Marnik Barefoots will enjoy an outing at Lommel. Everts overtakes Trampers Parker as he ploughs his way back through the field. Out in front, Greg Albertijn falls. Now is he going to lose the lead? Well, he had enough in hand to hang on to the lead. Werner de Wit was placed 4th. Cheryl Sweeber was placed 5th. Second went to Everts, and Barefoots had 3rd position. On to Heat 2. Albertijn with certainly the best line through there, well clear of all the problems, which has tied up 4 or 5 of the riders. And look at the lead he stretches out in front of the rest of the field. Donny Schmit with problems, and at this time in the season, it could really, really affect any chances of him challenging for the championship. Now then, Everts goes down, Parker goes down. Trampers Parker with a seriously injured right wrist. Werner de Wit, 24, takes Bob Moore quite aggressively on the inside. Bob Moore dropping back all the time. Everts having an excellent race, starting to close on Kurt Nichol. Van Dorn and Marnik Barefoots. Werner de Wit. Werner de Wit settles for 5th. Evertson settles for 4th. Van Dorn ends up 3rd. Marnik Barefoot 2nd. And Albertijn 1st. So one thing Albertijn has proved again here is that he can master all conditions. They said he wouldn't be able to master the sand, but he's managed it. Donny Schmit riding the bucking bronco out there as Everts goes past him as if he's standing still. Schmit really doesn't like these conditions, does he? Poor old Mark Eastwood goes straight over the handlebars and then has to play dodgems with the rest of the field. You can see Herring and Albertijn side by side there. Werner de Wit, the sand rider extraordinaire, being chased by Everts. And Toys Visser having a nice ride too. Using those great big ruts around the corners to power through. Such a different technique. Edwin Evertson, the crowd loving this. And Marnik Barefoots as well, of course. Greg Albertijn isn't very comfortable in this final heat. One wonders whether the sand has tired him out a bit. And he struggles to stay on his machine. And he looks pretty dejected there. So Stefan Everts is very pleased taking the checkered. Marnik Barefoots gets the overall. Round 9, overlooking the beautiful countryside of Wiltshire for the British Grand Prix, Foxhill Parks, just outside Swindon. And Donny Schmit and Greg Albertijn out in front. As pretty much expected, Kurt Nichol had been going extremely well in practice, but the crowd just loving these two world champions side by side on the flinty course here. Nichol running in 3rd place. Mikhaili Fanton going well in 4th place in the initial stages. And Petter Johansson had a brilliant start as well. The big downhills and the uphill sections causing problems for some. Bob Moore doesn't pre-jump, goes head over the handlebars, not seriously injured, but crawls to the safety as the marshals run in there. Albertijn still leading out in front. "26,000 crowd turning out to this immaculately prepared course and having fabulous racing with 2 laps to go. Schmit still out in front, but he blows it completely. Did he glance at the 2-lap board? He still leads, but tries to restart his bike. It will not start, and the others start to close on him. So Greg Albertijn wins the first race. Kurt Nichol gets a huge cheer as he goes into 2nd place. Mikhaili Fanton ends up in 3rd. Bob Moore with a suspected broken ankle. On to Moto 2, Nichol gets the whole shot ahead of Schmit, Doug Moore and Albertijn in 4th place. There's a huge pile-up down in the dip there, and that involves Herring, who hit Malin. Lyles hit Herring, and then Holbert smashed into all of them and smashed his front teeth as well. So Kurt Nichol, look, being cheered on by the crowd, being chased by Schmit. Albertijn in 3rd place, and there's Everts. Now then, Schmit and Nichol take each other out, leaving Albertijn to inherit 1st position. Talon Boland is in 2nd position. And then Donny Schmit recovers quickly enough to get into 3rd position, being chased by Colin Dugmore, who's having the race of his life here. Evertson and Barefoots and Everts are all in the running, but the win goes to Greg Albertijn. From Talon Boland, And there's a very dispirited and annoyed Kurt Nichol waiting to have a word with Mr. Donny Schmit. A great race for Colin Dugmore. And there is Kurt. Race 3, no crash this time. A brilliant start again by Albertijn, but Greg Nichol makes the whole shot and he's being chased. You can hear the crowd screaming and shouting, and they're actually chucking lumps of mud and rock at Donny Schmit because they didn't like the way he barged Kurt Nichol out of the running. The dust starting to come up a bit now, and Stefan Everts is right up the exhaust pipe of Kurt Nichol. But some of these Fox Hill bumps are too much for the likes of Werner de Wit. So Albertijn, Schmit, third and fourth. Pouzar overtaking Colin Dugmore, who's having a fabulous weekend. Pouzar isn't having such a good weekend. He had to retire in race 2, came 14th in race 1. Stefan Everts is in the lead and riding a brilliant race. Greg Albertijn is in second place, and Kurt Nichol being challenged once again by Donny Schmit and not having any of it this time round. The checkered goes out for Everts. Greg Albertijn manages second place. But what a brilliant weekend for Kurt Nichol on the podium in front of a home crowd. And then they go across the sea to Ireland with Greg Albertijn breathing oxygen at the top of the standings. The whole shot in the first race was Mika Aaltonen on the Honda. But it wasn't long before Greg Albertijn took the lead. Stefan Everts and Werner de Wit having a battle. Kurt Nichol not doing all that well in practice, but my world doing well on the day. Stefan Everts enjoying this stony, earthy track. And certainly looking as if he's ready to make a challenge. Petter Johansson ending up fourth in this first heat and riding one of the best races of the season. Rob Herring recovered from his injuries, but not completely. Talon Boland to finish fifth in this heat. And Werner de Wit falling back down as he's done through the whole season, starting well and falling back down. Albertijn takes the checkered flag. As we move into Moto 2, and you can see a lot of the riders left on the start there. There had to be a restart. Only the outside gates dropped, and they dropped early. So in the restart, Stefan Everts in the lead. Greg Albertijn in second place. Another great ride by Petter Johansson as well. Now then, one of the Brits, Paul Malin, making a very, very good outing. So there's Michaeli Fantone up in the top 5. Kurt Nichol, real problems. One of his Bridgestones on the front went flat. They're not riding with mooses here in Ireland. Very stony track and subject to punctures if you're not careful. So Paul Malin being challenged by Michaeli Fantone. It'd be great if Paul had a good ride out here. Petter Johansson certainly enjoying Ireland. Rob Herring in the wars again, got hit by a rock on the shoulder and thought he had a puncture as well. So this part of the season, not very good for Herring. Billy Lyles back on board, and Talon Boland carrying number 94 at the moment. Schmit way down the field. He was to finish this race in 11th position, just in front of Fred Bolly. Colin Dugmore was to retire on lap 5. So Stefan Everts wins Moto 2 and 3 and the overall.
Did you do it?
Oh yeah,
Fun?
I enjoyed it. It's definitely worth it.
May?
If I don't make it, well, I leave everything to Ian.
my mechanic. A little bit more hectic. That was wild, man. I thought, here I go, I'm dead for sure. Cool. I'll do it again for sure. That was wicked. Thank you very much.
So the standings after round 10, Stefan Everts strengthening his position in second place. Donny Schmit got a look over his shoulder with Nichol making some moves and coming very strong at this time of the season. Rob Herring still being really worried by injuries, especially after Fox Hills. And lower down, we see those who would like to have been. That's the only way I can put that. Colourful Venezuela for round 11. Very, very hot and extremely humid. Race 1, Pouzar gets the whole shot. And you can see the sort of circuit, everyone going wide, wide. They watered the circuit like mad. Dust was always going to be a big problem here. Pouzar soon loses out to Albertijn with Everts hot in pursuit. The second race was a different kettle of fish, with Pouzar getting his revenge and actually beating Albertijn. Nichol ended up with an excellent third place in race 2. In the third race, the roles were reversed once again, with Albertijn out in front, Pouzar getting second, Stefan Everts third, and Donny Schmit in fourth place. Being chased, as you can see, by Everts, who loves the sand. All of the riders suffering from the heat and having to drink copious quantities of water between the heats. They kept their practice to an absolute minimum here in Venezuela because it was so hot. Kurt Nichol getting his message. Pass Evertson is what the message says. And that's in fact what he did in the latter stages of the race. Betty Johansson found himself a puddle of mud to roll around in. That looks bad, but he wasn't in fact injured at all. And the crowd cheering on Pouzar into a good second place, but the win goes to Greg Albertijn once again.
Anyone who was fucking 10 seconds slower in time practice shouldn't race.
So Budds Creek for round 12, and a real family affair. One or two of the American riders, of course, turning out. Kedrowski, McGrath, Sandy, perfect weather. Kurt Nichol, Alexandre Pouzar, one or two of the others getting caught up on that first corner. Kedrowski and McGrath quite clear. Donny Schmit with something to prove, I think, here. Mike LaRocco also getting a pretty good start. So with Stefan Everts out in front, wanting a ride in America next season if he can possibly put the package together. He's out to prove to the talent scouts and the manufacturers that he can do the job on American territory. So Kedrowski and McGrath, here they come. 82 is McGrath. Kedrowski eventually goes through to get second place in the first race. McGrath gets third place. Donny Schmit ends up in fourth. And Mike LaRocco in fifth place. But it was good to see the two Supercross guys giving it their all on motocross territory. Very unusually, Greg Albertijn ended up biting some dirt in Budds Creek. And that meant he ended up in, for him, a lowly sixth place in race 1. He corrected that by coming second in race 2 and first in race 3. But the winner of race 1 was Stefan Everts. The winner of race 2 was Mike Kedrowski. Donny Schmit ended up fourth in race 1, fourth in race 2, third in race 3, and fourth overall. But the US Grand Prix overall went to Stefan Everts, with Greg Albertijn adding 47 points to his championship total. Everts therefore closing the gap by 5 points. Britain's Kurt Nichol had an appalling first race, ending up in 35th position, 7th in race 2, and 9th in race 3. That gives him 8th overall and 16 championship points. So that gives Kurt Fourth place in the standings, something nobody thought would have been possible in his first season on 250cc. The cooling shower of Venezuelan champagne. Round 13.
Racing, and you know, I'm sure that doesn't matter what the jury say, what anybody says, the riders.
something like 20 seconds ahead of second place Stefan Everts. And he takes the checkered flag with Trampus Parker third, and another great ride by Kurt Nichol into fourth place. Everts in fifth place, and Albertijn picks up very lowly marks down in 11th position. On to Heat 2. An unfortunate start for Kurt Nichol as he gets caught up in this first corner tumble. The others negotiating their way around it, and Nichol is furious. Donny Schmit was caught up in that too, which will please Albertijn. But Stefan Everts is out in front, and Fred Bolly is having a great race as well. Werner de Wit got a good start. So Everts, de Wit, Fred Bolly, and Mark Eastwood making a good showing. So where is Albertijn? There he is. And once again, a poor start, keeping out of trouble, and he's now going to be chasing Everts. Change of goggles for Donny Schmit. Everts, de Wit, Fred Bolly nearly crashes out, but manages to hang on to it. Mark Eastwood in about sixth position at the moment, and Albertijn starting to eat up some of the lower places. But he ain't going to catch Stefan Everts. No way. A huge lead. Once again, he's got something like 15, 16 seconds lead. Pouzar having a much better end to the season. And Albertijn in fifth position. And if my abacus tells me right, that means that he will have enough points to clinch the World Championship if he can keep it going. So Fred Bolly and Werner de Wit having a nice little battle. Fred Bolly coming good at the end of the season. Stefan Everts riding like the superstar he is out in front. Very consistent riding from Everts this season. Well, there's Bolly and de Wit. Greg Albertijn, not making any mistakes, but still moving up through the field. So the man who started the season pretty much as an outsider in a lot of people's eyes. It's Donny Schmit working his way up through the field again. The man who started the season pretty much as an outsider in many people's eyes has proved a lot of the skeptics wrong. He's up there, he's challenging Alexandre Pouzar now. He's still riding hard. Billy Lyles has had a very up and down season, and this is the down part of it. He will have converted to 250cc, rather like this man Everts did previously. And when that checkered flag comes out, this could well be the time when Greg Albertijn could take another World Championship trophy home to South Africa to add to his 125cc trophy as well. So right now, it's Everts ahead of Bolly. Albertijn challenging Werner de Wit, still making a race of it. Trampus Parker and Alex Pouzar look as if they're going to have to settle for 5th and 6th. Everts flies high. Fred Bolly here in 2nd place. Albertijn has moved up into 3rd place and is now well assured of that World Championship. What must he be feeling like in these last few laps of the Finnish Grand Prix? And what will the celebrations be like down on the line? The checkered is out. Everts crosses the line. Bated breath as Bolly comes up towards the line, but here is the new world champion. One right-hander left to go. One hand up in the air. And Greg Albertijn is to be crowned the new world champion. 250cc motocross star of 1993. A tremendous two-year end-on-end achievement. The pressure is off. The man is so emotional. His God was with him the whole way round. Tremendous teamwork, beautifully prepared machine, and amazingly enough, no factory help there. All the tuning and all the bits and pieces done as a privateer's team. Well, Albertijn goes out there wearing the crown for race 3 and leads Donny Schmit away and Stefan Everts as well. And you think he'd maybe go out just for a lap of honor, but no way. He's out in front. Donny Schmit has tried his hardest this season. He had equipment problems and 1 or 2 bits of bad luck at the beginning of the season, but no way could he compete with the consistency and the sheer riding genius of Greg Albertijn. Alex Pouzar, on the other hand, has had an appalling time. His confidence has completely gone. This man is brimful of confidence. He's riding like the world champion he now is. Everts in second place there. Fred Bolly is enjoying his outing here. Werner de Wit's come good at the end of the season as well. There you see him. Talon Boland wearing 98, running somewhere down in 5th place. Kurt Nichol is also having a tremendous end to the season. And the flag goes out yet again for Greg Albertijn. What a way to celebrate your championship. So the overall goes to Stefan. Suzuka in Japan, traditionally the way to end the World Championship Motocross Series. And of course, for the Japanese manufacturers, the most important event of the season. Thousands and thousands of ecstatic fans throng to the circuit. And there's 1 or 2 things happening here to try and bolster the pride of some of the manufacturers. Kawasaki have brought in Mike LaRocco to try and change their fortunes a bit. And it'll be interesting to see how he fares on the circuit. The newly crowned champion of the world, Greg Albertijn, will be here. He's been doing a little bit of celebrating, as he admits, and probably won't be going absolutely flat out at this event. But I often wonder when we say things like that, that when the gate goes down, I'm sure that adrenaline runs and we'll be seeing Greg Albertijn doing the business as always. The Suzuka circuit, beautifully prepared. Bob Moore, wondering about all the problems he's had this season. But the first race, Donny Schmit gated well. Sandro Pouzar is feeling much happier. And Greg Albertijn takes the wide outside line and keeps well clear of any problems. Billy Lyle's having mechanical problems even at this stage. It is very hot and very humid. This race held on Saturday, 25 degrees, 73% humidity. And a lot of Japanese riders mixing it in here. Takamasa Takagi leading for the first 3 laps, 3,000 spectators turning up here. And there you can see Takamasa Takagi. Stefan Everts, who was way down at the start, working his way gently back up through the field, not going to get into the points. Here's Mike LaRocco. Kawasaki were hoping for big things from Mike here. to wave the Kawasaki flag in Suzuka. But he's motoring in around 4th place. Britain's Kurt Nichol is challenging him hard. Mike LaRocco having a few problems, and he goes down. The bike rolls over on top of him. He's all right, but that means that Kurt Nichol could well move into 3rd place. And there he goes. So Mike LaRocco sets up the chase, and we could have a bit of a race on our hands now. So the win goes to Donny Schmit. A superb 2nd place for Sandro Puzar, who we wanted to see end the season with a bit of success. Kurt Nichol ending the season in great style. And then we move on to the 2nd heat on the 2nd day. A bit of an unusual thing here at Suzuka. Albertijn checking the gate. And once again, Puzar looking good. Fred Bolly coming really on form at this stage. Kurt Nichol, a brilliant start by him. Really got their machinery right. Stefan Everts, and there's Puzar chasing Everts now. So Fred Bolly in the lead. Can he hang on to it? Kurt Nichol in 2nd place. And Stefan Everts in 3rd place. He goes past Kurt. So lap 8. Stefan Everts is through into 2nd place. And Trampus Parker's out of it. But it looks as if Kurt's being pushed by a hungry Puzar as well. Meanwhile, Greg Albertijn, who started down in about 10th place, is wending his way up through the field, and he's currently in 4th position. So here comes Everts challenging Bolly. Whoa, and they both take each other out. Now Bolly will be furious. It doesn't really matter much to Everts. They both stall and they both lose so many places. So Puzar is now leading the Japanese Grand Prix. Donny Schmit has moved into 2nd place. Greg Albertijn is up into 3rd place. This is what happened. No one's fault, really. But if you're in front and someone takes you out from behind, you're going to think it's him, aren't you? So Kurt Nichol moves ahead of Puzar and into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. So it's, well, it looks as if Nichol's got a problem. Nichol is stopped, his engine stopped, and that means Puzar's in the lead ahead of Schmit now. What happened to Nichol? Puzar wins the Grand Prix. He must be thrilled. His confidence must be coming back. What a way to end the season. He wins his moto. On to Moto 3. Once again, Taketeru Atsuto, a local Japanese rider, gets a good start. Kurt Nichol mixed up in that, along with Marnik Barefoots and everybody. You can see Greg Albertijn there. But there's Taketeru Atsuta out in front of a home crowd, and everyone will be cheering him on. Stefan Everts out of it. And so this is the race, really. Japanese rider Taketeru Atsuta just being challenged now by Edwin Evertson. Mike LaRocco looking strong in this 3rd race. There is LaRocco having a go at Takayuki Miyachu. And Greg Albertijn seemingly not too worried about the fact that he's had to retire, and doing some more interviews and chatting to his mechanics. But there are still people out there looking for points, and one of the points is that Mike LaRocco has been paid a lot of money to come over here and produce a result, so he's hammering his way through the field. Puzar and Talon Volan having a go at each other. Now there's Evertson. There's Mike LaRocco. Talon Volan just behind him. A very supercrossy type whoop section, which LaRocco takes absolutely beautifully, and he moves ahead of Evertson. Donny Schmit licking his wounds. A lot of the big guys are throwing in the towel now, but Puzar has still got some fight left in him, and he takes over 2nd place from Evertson. Bob Moore out of it. And Kurt Nichol running way down the field in 8th position. So the win goes to Mike LaRocco, who does the honours for Kawasaki. Puzar gets 2nd. It's been a great Japanese Grand Prix for Alexandro Puzar. Evertson gets 3rd place and Talon Boland 4th. Fred Bolli 5th place.
アレッサンドロ・プッツァーロ選手。
Yeah, I'm very satisfied. You know, I had a lot of options to go to Italy, but, you know, I'd like to stay in Belgium. I'm happy there and I'm settled down. And Suzuki's going to be a good bike. I think we can work well together next year.
So America is going to stay a dream?
Yeah, definitely. For 95, 99% sure I'm going to be there. You know, I wanted to go this year. I like setting a new goal and a new challenge, but it didn't come through, so not the end of the world. I'm going to hopefully win another world title and go there with 3 championships.
How is it for a dad staying in South Africa, seeing his son becoming world champion? Is it difficult?
Well, it's one of these things that we've worked many years to get there. You know, Greg started when he was 8 years old. And to me, it started as a weekend job. We used to put fuel in the bike and clean the air filter, and I thought that was all that motocross was. But obviously, the better he got, the more I realized how much time I had to spend on the bikes. And it was for me a great thrill when he eventually won the 125 World Championship. And I must be honest, it was even a bigger shock when he won the 250s this year, so I'm delighted.
Wasn't it difficult for you when he was 17 going to Europe?
It was the hardest decision of my life because first of all I had to take the decision of taking him out of school and letting him become a professional at 16 at that stage. And I think it's a very difficult decision for any father. But I think the criteria that I used in taking that decision was that he had to be able to consistently beat everybody in South Africa. Not just of his age group, everybody, the seniors, all the main riders. And when he proved to me that he could do that, I had no option. I had to give him the opportunity.